Nick, let's start with this more than 12 billion US dollar package the cabinet has just announced. Do you think it's enough to offset the potential damage from US tariffs?
Well, I mean, whether it's enough is very much going to depend on kind of the final composition of these tariffs. But what we do know is that government spending this year was slated to be slashed by quite a historic amount. And so when we think about our own forecast for Taiwan, we were always expecting government consumption to be one of the bigger drags, given the fact that politicking in the legislative yuan was really kind of having implications for the growth story. I mean, if the government can't execute its budget, or if it's, you know, implementing its spending plans with a lot less fiscal resources than it had initially planned for, and there are consequences for that. And so higher spending in the context of what was already happening in Taiwan is going to be a good thing anyway.
Well, let's pull back a little bit. There have been divergent estimates on Taiwan's economic growth for this year. The IMF forecasts 2.9% growth, while local think tank SEER gave estimates as low as 0.16%. Where do you fall on this question?
Well, there is a very wide range of forecast calls right now, which I think is reflective of how uncertain the global environment is at the current time. Tariffs are really going to make or break the Taiwan growth story this year. Now, for us at EIU, we are more bullish than I think the rest of the market. Our growth forecast is around 3.5%. And the reason why it's so high is because when we look at Taiwanese exported semiconductors, Taiwanese exported electronics, they're what we call inelastic goods. These are goods that are hard to substitute. And so, even despite everything that's going on with the tariffs, we're expecting there to be exemptions. We're expecting there to be negotiations that would insulate Taiwanese trade flows. Taiwan is irreplaceable in many ways. And that's going to be something that not only Taiwanese policymakers have to think about, but also US policymakers in terms of how aggressive they can push their hawkish trade policy.
So, do you see this as the anti tariff version of Taiwan's so called Silicon Shield?
I think it is. I mean, I think Silicon Shield is an interesting concept in the sense of, how it relates to national defense. But Taiwan indisputably occupies a very advantageous part of the global value chain. I think even the concerns that we have around Taiwan, Taiwanese companies investing in other markets and whether this is going to reduce that silicon shield, I think those are somewhat misplaced, given that the crown jewels, the most innovative semiconductors, the most advanced production, that all still seems to be very much localized in Taiwan, and we don't see that changing anytime soon.